Hello there. Welcome back to the Visibility Shift. My name is Liz Devonshire. I'm a brand photographer and visibility specialist. We're on chat number 9. I can't believe it. There will only be 3 more chats after this in this series. So please do hang on in there. Amy Atkinson is my latest guest, and this is well worth listening to. Hello, thank you again for checking out the Visibility Shift. I know it's going to be a great conversation today, and although actually all the conversations I've had so far have been really great with some fabulous input from some fabulous business women, I know my next guest is so passionate about helping businesses succeed and grow that she's going to have loads of gems to share. So you've got to listen to this very carefully. Amy Atkinson and I met through networking, as I have with nearly all my guests. And actually, that just shows you how brilliant networking can be as a really good tool for visibility, because we all kind of make some really good contacts during those monthly meetings that we attend. Amy and I have also collaborated on a content creation live workshop last year. So I've seen firsthand what an awesome business Amy's created and just how much she cares about helping others achieve success too. So hi, Amy, and thank you for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
That's
Hope I
okay.
bring gems. Otherwise, people are going to be like, oh, God.
Well, I'm looking forward to hearing what you're going to come up with. So, before we get stuck into those questions, I really wanted you to share a little bit about your journey, because I've kind of seen you kind of grow a lot this last 12 months. You seem to be everywhere. So, I'd really like to hear, how you made that happen.
Magic. There was a golden nugget. No, there wasn't. I think that's what I will come on to say this, but I think it's really important that we are looking at where our ideal clients are and being everywhere that our ideal clients are, because then you get the perception that you are everywhere, but you're not. Although, literally, in the last 6 weeks, I have been everywhere, all over the frickin' of Europe. So, but that is a total another story. So, hi everybody. Thanks so much for having me, Liz. It's an absolute pleasure to be here. My name is Amy Atkinson, and I am a serial entrepreneur. I have got 3 businesses now. I started 11 years ago with my digital marketing agency, which at the time was very much a freelance done for you services, which is when we first met years ago.
Yes.
And yeah, mad. Yeah, we've probably known each other like 8-ish years, do you reckon? Liz,
Yeah.
about that.
Yeah.
This is pre-COVID.
Yeah. Yeah. It was just before COVID, and it was at Athena. So,
Yeah.
yeah. So when they were still doing the face-to-face meetings. So,
Yeah. Yeah. And I started my business because, so this was the business way back when, because I was fed up of being in corporate. And I know that so many people, that is their experience of starting their new business, whether it's because they wanted to be around for their kids more or just hated being in corporate. But the truth is that, oh, there's a chat GPT saying the truth is, and I actually say it myself. Um, I just I'm really good at what I do without being a cockwomble. Am I allowed to swear? Sorry. Without being arrogant. I am very good at what I do. And one of the things that used to happen constantly to me in the corporate world was just being put upon. Oh, it's okay, Amy will do it. Someone's not doing their job. Oh, it's okay, Amy will do it. And therefore, I was working all of the hours from 5 a.m. till 10 p.m. And I just didn't want to do that for somebody else anymore. I wanted to do that for myself. And I started my business to be able to help women predominantly, because that was what was in my comfort zone, um, get to 6 figures. And you know what ended up happening was that I ended up like creeping back into working with middle aged men, egotistical men, because because they wanted results and they wanted a good ROI. And that is where my agency grew to. So I still have my agency, but it doesn't light me up in the same way that the Femtrepreneur does, going back to what I originally wanted to do, which was help women to create six figures through their business. And one of the things, when we all have our ups and downs of business, one of the things that I know that I can do really easily and that I felt comfortable sharing with people and teaching them was making more sales through social media, because ultimately that is how I grew my business, is what I used to do for people in corporate, businesses in corporate. So I was like, yeah, that's what I'm going to do. But actually, in the last 6 months, and this is kind of what Liz is alluding to, that I have been everywhere, is I have had to fully step into, we're actually going to come on to this, I think, is another question, but I've had to fully step into version 2.0 of Amy, version 3.0 of Amy, to really level the fuck up. I'm just going to swear, and be out there more, be visible more, show up in more authority, to really cut through the noise of social media. So I'm doing that. I teach my clients to do that. And it's imperative now. If you want to make a success of your business, you have to be doing what it takes to step out and be more visible. So that is me.
Absolutely. I mean, I totally agree. And if you can't do it, it's a real, your business is not going to grow. Your business is not going to go anywhere. And that is what this, the visibility shift is all about. I'm talking to people like yourself to share that message with businesses that they do need to get themselves out there. Otherwise, they're not going to grow and they're not going to be a success, unfortunately. No. So going into that first question, which you may have answered a bit of, the leap of faith question. So how did you step out of the comfort zone? What made you, and for some people, it's that confidence to do it. What was it that pushed you?
Do you know what? It was the only reason that you won't step out of your comfort zone is because of you. And I can't tell you what specifically triggered it for me, but it was a massive realization, whether it was a training, whether it's the self-development I've done, maybe even working with my coach. I realized that my first ever big boss, in my first ever corporate job, he said to me, Amy, whatever you do, just don't be yourself. So context to that comment was, I had already had, in 6 months of working in that company, 3 promotions. I had then got headhunted to go to another company. And it was the day before I was leaving. It was the day before Christmas Eve, so Christmas Eve. And it was my boss's last day. And his parting beautiful words were to me, whatever you do, Amy, just don't be yourself. So I carried that for 4 years after that, working in corporate. I then carried it longer into my business for 2 years. So I never showed up as myself on social media, in my business, even really in networking meetings. And I want to also say that it's only been as of 2 years ago that I actually showed up on LinkedIn as myself, because my fear after that was, I kind of got okay with being myself on Instagram and Facebook, because actually my friends and family knew me and I was over that. And even though they were taking the piss, because yes, guys, when you step out of your comfort zone and yes, you do these things, people will hold you back. But ultimately, it's only you that's going to make a difference, and you have to be okay with that. And that was my biggest shift, to learn to be okay that I am stepping out there and doing those things. But do you know what has happened since doing that? Now my mum invests in my business. So rather than saying, oh, Amy, don't say that, she's now the person that's giving me money to be like, no, you need to go there. You need to do this. You need to go and do that. So it's a very different, it's very, very different, but you have to be the person that leads.
Wow. Well, I think, all that is really important, being yourself. And I mean, we often hear about authenticity and stuff, but I do think we all do it. Just, my daughter said to both me and my husband, because my husband runs his own business too, Mum, you've got a telephone voice. I can, which, I didn't realize I did it even. It's so subconscious. And I think a lot of people aren't conscious that they're doing it, but they are.
Yeah, do you know what? It's so funny that you say that. My husband, even he has a mum telephone voice versus an Amy telephone voice versus a work telephone voice. I'm like, oh my
Yeah.
God, you've literally got 60 personalities.
Did you realize that when you married him?
I think I did, but I've only just like properly consciously become aware since you just said it.
Oh, brilliant, brilliant. So, as I'm a photographer, I am going to ask you a question that's around photography. I do this to everybody, and probably their heart sinks, but anyway, I'm going to go for it anyway. So, as you've alluded to, actually, that you specialize in social media strategy. So, how do you discuss photography as part of that strategy with your clients? And when they're planning photo shoots, do you offer them any advice and tell them what to think about, and action in collaboration with the photographer to produce imagery that's going to be useful to those strategies?
I think I've sort of touched on this already in this interview, but social media, everybody now knows how important social media is. And so the trouble is with that is that they're getting out there and they're being consistent because they've told they need to be consistent. But there is do you know what? I actually can't remember the number now, but I want to say 3.8 billion active users on Instagram now. And what that means is that we have to ensure we're controlling the controllables of standing out. And that means the sort of content that we need to be creating. But ultimately, if you think about this evening, when you get home, you finish work, you're sitting on the sofa, you've had your dinner, and the TV's in front of you, we've all got our freaking phones in our hand. So the content that we're scrolling through now has to be scroll stopping in order for us to stop, because we've got a gajillion other distractions going on. And in order to help yourself, you can quite actively control this. You can quite actively choose to make this a thing that happens. Get professional photos taken.
Yeah.
It needs to be done to help you stand in your authority online and show people who the fuck you really are. When it comes to having professional photos taken, I said this earlier, it's imperative. It's not even like a nice to have anymore. Like if you're genuinely all into your business and you want to make it happen, and you even want to get to 30, 40 grand in your business, you need professional photos taken. You're looking to get to 6 figures, then you need to fucking sort your content out, and it needs to be spot on. And I don't say this to scare people. I say this because I genuinely care about making you get results. And so when it comes to working collaboratively with a photographer, you want to make sure that they understand your brand. You want to make sure that they understand that the whole point in you doing this is for you to stand out. You're not just having another freaking headshot picture. Who cares? You want to make sure that you've got your brand cues in there. And for any of you that don't fully understand what a brand cue means, it basically means you've got the idea of colors that you're using in your brand, the idea of like values coming through in your brand and your personality, and therefore the photography, even like the background you stand in front of. Are you going corporate, or are you going rustic, or are you going I don't know, whitewashed walls with perfectly curated backgrounds? Like, this is all important.
Absolutely. I mean, funnily enough, I was having a conversation with somebody yesterday about investment in your sort of brand photography. And really, people need to think about investing in their locations, and people need to invest in possibly into their sort of like maybe a stylist to help them be on brand, and make sure that they've evolved with their businesses too. So everything comes together. If you're investing quite a lot of money in photography, you know those two other things are important too, otherwise you're going to be out of kilter. So it's really interesting when you talk about location, because I totally agree with that. I think a lot of people want to wing it, and I don't think it works.
I don't know if this is helpful, but I am honestly more than happy to share this. But I have had 3 brand shoots now in the last 2 years, because every single time I have leveled up in my business, my photography needed to follow suit.
Yeah.
The other thing is that if you are going to become prolific and using social media and helping that, I can't speak, helping you use that as a tool to get you to stand out, then again, you need to keep these images fresh.
Yes.
And when I last did a photo shoot, it was in Ibiza, but that was part of the business retreat I was doing. So obviously you've got the investment of getting there. But when I last paid for the photo shoot for myself, I paid for a makeup artist, I paid for the photographer, I paid for extra images, I paid for the actual house that we were in, and I paid for the food around that. So all in all, that photo shoot cost 3.5 grand.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's well worth its weight in gold, because of the amount of business that I've had because of standing up in that next level of authority.
Yeah. And when you speak to women who are at high level, they will regularly be refreshing their pictures. I mean, I'm talking like, 3 or 4 times a year, they will be having fresh shoots, because stuff goes stale there, because they're putting stuff out so often. People have seen their imagery. They know that they have to keep moving it on.
Yeah.
To keep people interested, and it is the foundation to marketing. I mean, there are obviously lots of other things like videos and all this sort of thing, but it is, to me, it is the very least that you're going to need. If not, I mean, you'll need a whole lot more.
It's the standard.
Yeah.
It's not even the expectation now, it's the standard.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can't do anything without that. So I'm going to go on to the final question today. And, you've offered some great gems there already, but I am going to ask, what advice would you offer listeners today to become more visible to their ideal audience? Or is there just one key piece of advice that you would give? No.
I think, do you know what? I think what I'm going to do is close the loop of what I've said today, because it's very easy to listen to snippets of information and take little bits, but actually if you take this next 5 minutes and that's it from this session, is really understand who your ideal client is. Who do they need you to be in order to follow you and buy from you? Then make sure that that is the person that you are being when you are showing up on social media. Ultimately, I guarantee you that you need to turn into and become and believe in yourself to be a leader, a position of authority, in order for people to actually buy from you nowadays. There's an element of nervousness around people spending money. And by being that person, you're creating the safety net for them to be like, okay, I trust you, I'm going to put that money into you. In order to stand out. So the third thing is then, in order for you to stand out online, you need to have images that show you off as that person of authority. And the fourth and final thing is be yourself.
Yeah.
Because that is magnetic.
Yeah. Great advice. Absolutely great. And the whole ideal client, I mean, I meet so many of my clients. I'll ask that question because it's obviously key before you have your pictures taken as well. And they say, yes, I do know my ideal client. But when you delve deeper, you find they actually don't, or they don't understand how much you need to know. They go with demographics over kind of things like alignment and stuff like
Yeah.
that. So that's good advice, because I think before you can go anywhere, do anything, you need that.
Yeah.
Fabulous, fabulous. Thank you so much for sharing your insights and advice and I know that lots of people will probably want to follow up and learn a bit more about you. So I'm going to put all your details into the comments, and it also sit next to your video as well, so people will be able to get in touch with you and find out a bit more with you and work with you, hopefully. So thank you so much, Amy. And
My absolute pleasure. Come and stalk me, guys. Come and say hello. I would love to see you over mainly on Instagram is where I hang out. So I will see you there.
fabulous, fabulous. Thank you. And I'll see you very soon, Amy.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Dropped lots and lots of gems there. So yes, it was a fairly long interview compared with some of the others, but I didn't want to cut it short because she did have so much to say of real use for you guys. So lots to talk about with the ideal client part of her conversation. Some takeaways that you should be looking at is re-examining your ideal clients. But the other thing was interesting is what she was saying about the photography side, and obviously that's where I can help you. I'd love to help you with your brand photography if you feel that you need some fresh photographs or something for a new campaign, perhaps. Why don't you DM me and we could have a little chat about that? We're going into 2026, so it's a really, really good time to start thinking about refreshing your imagery. So please do get in touch. I'd love to just have a chat. Okay, take care. Bye.